The last time I saw you was around April.
Yes,
From
yes.
that time up to now, we've not met. How have you been?
I'm okay. I have no problem. I'm enjoying my life. And we are starting to move on as usual, make some things happen. And seeing the sport and, you know.
I remember we were talking about the Eldoret City Marathon and how beautiful it was. Are we planning to have even a better one come next year?
Yes, I can tell you that we have started planning as from this week. We will go to our sponsors and make sure that they are in the calendar or they know what is happening with the Eldoret City Marathon, because a marathon you cannot start in a few days to the marathon. You need to plan 6-7 months so that also the sponsors can get ready for the event. And I'm saying we want to take this marathon to a higher level, to be even in the golden marathon, part of the biggest marathon in the world. And I'm happy that we are targeting there, and we will be there.
And when we're talking about marathons, because you've been able to organize quite a number, you've been able to run quite a number, won Boston 96, 98, starred in different races. What makes a marathoner to be a complete athlete?
The first thing is, as an athlete, you need to do what we call foundation. And you can see nowadays that our athletes, they want to start from the rooftop of a building, because you need to start with shorter races, for example, like cross country and track and field. And that is where you can build your career. Other than to go and start road racing, which cannot help you. And you see, again, I'm appealing to these athletes that the first thing that you need to do is to do your foundation. Leave alone the financial, or you want to be rich in a very short time. You need to build yourself so that in 10 years, you have built your career. Secondly, you can stay in the field for many years and plan yourself. You can see now we have athletes that we have big names. In few years, they are not there because of the foundation.
Let me take you to 1993, being the first ever human being to run under 1 hour in that half marathon. How was it?
My story was a bit, I don't know what happened, but I came out from World Cross Country in that, Scorelilne is a week after the World Cross Country. So we went for World Cross Country, and then as usual we go to Milano to run for half marathon, and we had also one other race called Cinque Millini, which is a cross country. So we ran a cross country. Then the next week we did the half marathon. So I was with Paul Terregat and Andrew Massey. In that we were joking that, as usual as Kenyan athletes, we say, now you cannot beat me this time, but you will see dust. Then when we went to the event, then I was a little bit like sickly or something. But, when the gun goes off, then the race started. And we went maybe about 3 laps. I felt that I was in good condition, and I went with the best setter. Then, Scorelilne is a circuit race. So we went round. Then when I was turning, then Paul and Andrew Massey was on the other side, and I was saluting them. So my coach by then told me that, Moses, that was the last 3 kilometers, and he said, you are under world record, and you are just playing, greeting people. That is what I had when I was running. Then I tried to concentrate, but at the same time I forgot, and then I met these guys again. Then I saluted. So my coach now told me, Moses.
It was a happy moment.
Yes.
Even without knowing that there is a
I'm
time
going
you
for.
beat
Yeah.
him.
Then a motorbike came to me and said, Moses, why don't you break this world record? Can you concentrate? Then I just concentrate for the last 2 kilometers. Then that was the world record.
How was it? How did it feel? Did you even plan? Did you go into that race knowing that was going to happen?
No. For sure I didn't. That is why I'm saying, I was with my friend Paul Terregat and Andrew Masai, and we were just playing that who is going to win this time. And because Terregat was the youngest, so I told Masai, because you are my age mate, please don't try to be ahead of me, because I will destroy that like joggingly.
Yeah.
But for sure, I think I was in good shape by then. Although we have this problem of doping, but I know the super athletes are there, and they want to show the world that we are natural and we can train very hard. Because if you see our trainings, is not the same as any other trainings. Because the first thing, we have a group of athletes that they train together. In other countries, they don't. And this give us a mileage in breaking world records.
Does it get any simpler or any harder? In the 1980s, early 1990s, the situations and the test was different.
Yes.
At this particular time, for the current athletes, the likes of Eliud, how different is it when you compare it with those days? Any easier to this particular time or harder at this particular time?
Yeah, I can tell you some things that have changed. The shoes, the clothes or the singlet and the short has really changed. It is not the same as what we used to wear.
For the better, I hope.
Yes, because they are very light. Now they have really manufactured those material, not even to disturb you when you are running. It is very soft. You can run without any disturbances. But during our times, you can even get yourself injured with the short or even the singlet or the shoes, because they have designed things now to go with the technology is up. Yes.
There are even instances that some athletes ran without shoes.
During our days,
Yes.
but not now.
Yes.
Yeah, but not now. Anything that's small that you can change will plus your speed. For example, you are training with the training shoes that I have now, and then you go and have a lighter shoes, like 1 gram or less than a gram of a shoes. Now you can run like you don't have anything in your body. So that now it's a plus to the technology that these companies have done for the athletes.
Let me digress you a little bit. We stop talking about marathons because you're also a champion in the World Championships, 10,000 meters.
Yes.
We've not won that medal for quite a number of years now. What is not happening?
The biggest problem is our athletes, and also maybe I don't want to go into controversial, but you see, if you think about marathon when you are 20 years, that's wrong. Because first, you have no muscles, you have not built you have not done your basic. Like if you want to build a house, you need to do what we call
proper foundation.
Proper foundation with a proper curing, and then you move on to go to second floor or first floor. So what has happened in this country, we have led our athletes to decide what they must do. And this is now between the coaches, the association, because, as somebody that you want to make money easily, is what the Kenyan athletes are trying to do, to go to marathons where there is a lot of money and leave the other short distance. But I'm saying I want to warn our athletes that you have a life after. You need to do your foundation. If you run 10,000, maybe your agent can tell you now, because you are running good in 10,000, we have seen Tergat, we have seen Eliud running a marathon, and you can run good in 10,000. Why don't you change to marathon so that he gets money? This is the biggest problem. It is monetary gain. It is not something that is... but I want to say, if you run for 5 years, you have a big name. And then you run for 5 years. The next, for example, you are 25, you are 30 years old. What about the other 40 years? Because somebody can go to 70 years. So what about the 40 years in your life? Because that first 5 years, you are first confused. And I want to say this. Many people say only people who drink beer or alcohol get drunk. But also, the money from the marathon, the money from these competitions, gets athletes drunk. So, and then after a few days, you don't have that money. So you need really to get things right. You need by an athlete himself to get things right, that let me do this for 5 years or 7, 8 years, then I can now graduate to marathon or something where that's the top. If you run marathon, you don't come back and run 10,000.
Yeah.
It is impossible, yeah, because the speed changes. So I want to tell the athletes that they should build their career for at least 5 to 10 years in shorter races, other than going to marathons.
And that makes me think about some of the big athletics heroes we've seen in this country,
Yes.
some of who have really invested, and others who you won't even say some of them ran during the same time. And maybe those who have not invested as much won't even measure greater races as compared to the latter.
Yes, that is why I'm saying you get drunk on the money. But if you think of your future as an athlete, if you think of what you will do after 40 years after retirement, or 40 to 45 years after retirement, thinking that what will you do? For example, you want to invest. Because the first money, and I can tell you, even personally, I was really confused with my first money. Because when I'm in the plane...
How did you even spend that money? The first
no, let me,
big money.
I'm coming with 10,000 US dollars in my pockets on the plane. When I have something, I should go to a call box before the mobiles. Go to a call box, call for a car dealer, say, can you register for me maybe a Land Cruiser or a tractor or something? And when I come home, that money goes to buy those things without investing. Because again, you know, our investment also you should think how you can invest.
Yeah, true.
You need to invest in something that has no depreciation, like land or a building. But if you come buy a lorry, buy a matatu, those things, when it got an accident, you have no car or you have no money. And that is what I'm saying. You get drunk with the fast money. And that is why you need, when you are getting drunk, you learn slowly that I've bought this tractor, I've bought a lorry, but it's not giving me what I want. Because if you are not there, the drivers, as Kenyans, the misuse that you have. If you can start a business, for example, you have a shop and you are not there, you know what will happen. So it's either you buy a building, rent it out, or buy land that will not depreciate. When you are now retired, then you can come and arrange yourself. And for sure, money is, I don't know what we call. Yeah.
I get the point. We've had quite a number of great athletes in this country, the likes of Beatrice, the likes of Kamorol, the likes of Manangoy, just to name but a few, the likes of Eliud, who's poised just to stand, make history. But are we going to the right direction? Should we have more of this caliber of athletes as we compare to the years that have passed? Because we had quite a huge talent that we knew what exactly they are doing and how well they are at it. But at this particular moment, do we have enough of those big names, if I should call them?
Yes, Kenya is a country that has talents. But what we are doing now is something I can call it's a danger that is coming. Because our athletes, nobody can tell them what to do. And they cannot come to us. For example, a young athlete cannot come and take what we have. They cannot come and ask us what we did so that we still have those names. And the biggest problem is these young athletes, they don't listen to anybody. And again, you've seen what is happening in doping. It is something that it needs to stop. But how can we stop? The athlete himself must come up and say, this is not right, let me go natural. And because there is so many factors, there is money factor, there is a competition that Kenya has a lot of athletes that they need to compete at once. And I'm seeing this one. You remember during Kipchoge, Henry Rono, after the boycott of those Olympic Games, Kenya went down and there was no athletes. And I'm seeing again, the history might repeat itself, that if we don't stop this thing, we might go the same way that Kenya will not have athletes in future, because we are spoiling our natural resources by giving them track. If they don't know, they can be persuaded that if you take this thing, you might have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this is very wrong for somebody, whoever is doing that. Instead of these athletes coming to us, go to Patrick Sang, go to your Beson Diek, go to the senior athletes and tell them, what can I do so that I can have a name like yours? Now they go to people that they are not there. And if you see the athletics now, where the money is, everybody is inside there. Also, those people who doesn't know even athletics, the people who are from the street, they want to
manage the athletes.
Manage the athletes. And their minds is not to get these athletes. Because I remember some of the managers saying, we have a lot of Kenyans. We have the best Kenyans in Kenya. If we leave this one, then we have another one the next day, the same caliber. And that is what I hate in my life, that we cannot be used like donkeys and then dumb. Why don't we develop our athletes, give what is ripe? For example, if you are a cross-country runner, 3,000 meters runner, we maintain those. Then if you are a 10,000 meter runner, 5,000 meter runner, we maintain you for quite some time. And then we try to push. Because as you are getting old, we need to push you to, like now if you are 30, for example, 27, 30 years, 35 years, we need to push you to the marathon or road races than to have a young kid, 25 years, running a marathon, than to have an 18-year-old running a road race. And this is, you see, even our road races in Kenya. Sometimes you put these children at 21 kilometers, which is not allowed. Which is not allowed. But who will control them? You get a license, you put even a 5-year-old to run on the tarmac, which is not allowed. And this is really a serious problem that we need to see and make sure that we put our rules, the governing rules of IF and also AK, that no child should be on the road race, apart from if you are over 20 years or 25 years, and then you can start running these 5K, 10K, but not a marathon or a half marathon. Yes.
I know you're talking about athletics Kenya, the AK to be specific, and there is a lot that is happening in the AK.
Yeah.
There is a court case, I know, that has been dragging for quite a number of years now.
Yeah.
What is your general assessment about the current office and what they're doing at the office at this particular time? I had to ask you that.
No, I don't want to say anything because I'm the one who is in court with Athletic Kenya.
Yes.
And I don't want to comment anything about Athletic Kenya and even that case because it might be a big problem. But for sure, an athlete needs its right. Yeah.
And everybody needs support.
Yes.
And people who are mandated to do that always ought to take that responsibility.
Yes, yes.
We are seeing golf in the Olympics. Now I know after the track field and those events, now you're playing amateur golf.
Yes.
Olympics might be saying that let's take golf and let people play golf during the Olympics. Can we be able to see you do that at a particular time, or are you just doing it for fun?
Right now, you know, Olympics is only professionals.
Yes.
And I think my age also will not allow me to be in Olympics. But I want one time maybe to play with the top professional golfers in the world as a professional in my career as an athlete. And you see why I chose golf is because I don't have any other sport to play because of age. Secondly, it's a you know, it's a pleasure. You know, it's golf is something that you can play till you are 70. We have old men here that are playing golf at 72, 73, 75 years. So you see, this is a sport that I can maintain myself after competing in a high level. But remember also that golf is also in Olympic Games. And I'm suggesting that we should try also to teach our children, because we have what we call Junior Golf Foundation.
Yes.
We should support Junior Golf Foundation to produce young golfers that they can also turn to professional, so that also they can represent this country
at a good age.
And I can tell you that you know, Kenyans, we have sportsmen, including football, everything. But it is only that we have what we call mismanagement in all this federation, that we don't develop from grassroots. You only get somebody at the right age and say, now you can play football, you can. But if we have what we call sports academy, of which I want to appeal to our government, that we need to have what we call sports academy, so that we can train even children for the future competitions in Olympics and also World Championship. And I think also maybe in future also we will have a World Championship for the golfers, or rather, I know football is there and everything. So we need to develop. I'm also encouraging, and I represent juniors in this region, that we need to develop the young talents and know their goals at the end, to be an international or a professional golfer.
This is a clear indication that there is life after athletics, or after
Yes.
any sports. A clear indication, you should say.
Yeah.
Maybe a message to the athletes and any sportsman and woman in the country as we conclude.
Yeah. I want to tell the sportsmen that let us encourage ourselves and have a vision and have where you can be there, so that people recognize you. Not to be at the top level. At the end of the day, when you retire, nobody even will recognize you as a sportsman. We have a name, and we build that name. So we need sure to maintain our names and have them for long life, like any other, than to say who will help me to maintain my name. It is you to maintain your name. It is you to build your name. It is you to keep your name alive for many years. And if you retire, don't go and stop and stay in your house or with your children. Try to come up and assist the young, either athletes, golfers, or footballers at your level as retired, and mentor them to become also people who can be recognized in this world.
Do we see Eliud having some more years in him to boss the world of marathon?
Yes, I think Eliud is prepared to run more. And I told you, Eliud is one of the few athletes that you can trust, that you can put a bet on him. And I think Eliud will be a role model in future, that if Eliud has done this, there is some people who followed him, or some athletes that can say, if Eliud has done this, I want to do better. Because I remember when I was asked in 1994 in Boston that, do you think somebody can